Hey, what's up everybody? This is my review of G.I. Joe Sigma 6 Kamakura Airglide Ninja. And as you can see here, we've got the two ninjas facing off against each other. And here's Storm Shadow on the right, and he's blocking the kick from Kamakura. So I'm going to try to start off all my action figure reviews with the figure itself in some kind of dynamic, interesting pose, because after all, action figures are action figures. They're meant to be posed in a certain way. And the second reason I want to start off my action figure reviews with a pose is because it kind of demonstrates the range of articulation of the figure. So, Kamakura Airglide Ninja. And I'm going to be conducting this review for those of you who are not familiar with Sigma 6, so I'm going to be going over pretty detailed into articulation and also explaining some of the features of these Sigma 6 figures. So Kamakura Airglide Ninja. Let's have a look at him first here, from top to bottom. Take a look at his head sculpt, which is really nice. And you can see here he's got the Sigma 6 logo on his chest right there. And one of the nice features of these Sigma 6 figures is a lot of them come with this metal dog tag. This is completely all metal. As you can see here, it's got the Sigma 6 insignia etched into the metal there, which is really nice. So just moving down the figure, you can see here, nice detail on the boots. Take a look at the back side here. Now, if you're wondering what these ports are here, they're called Sigma 6 ports, and you can see there's one on his chest. We've got 4 back here on his back side, or not back side, but back on his back, between his shoulders. You got a port here, 2 ports here on the inside of the forearm, a port here, and you got ports on either thigh, knee, and lower leg. So these are called Sigma 6 ports. And what you can do is you can plug in the accessories that come with some of these figures. Like, for example, on some of the previous figures I own, they have things like grenades. You can clip in the grenades on any one of these Sigma 6 ports. I think another example would be like a canteen. Unfortunately, I don't have those. I can't find them. They're somewhere, but they're put away in storage. But anyways, these are Sigma 6 ports. They really add a lot of playability to the figure. And you can take accessories from other figures and plug them in to these Sigma 6 ports, which is really cool and adds a lot of playability to the figure in general. One other thing I want to point out is some of these have these communications devices here on the forearm. You can see it has readouts, some stats and stuff like that. You can make it out better there. So really cool, and you can see it folds in for storage. So really nice detail on these Sigma 6 figures. Now let's go over articulation. Head does have a wide range of articulation, as you can see there. He can look down, look up a little bit, which is really nice. You've got movement at the shoulders. They're ball hinge shoulders, so they go out like that. There is no articulation at the bicep, but you do have a ball hinge shoulder, as you can see there, bends and rotates. And same thing with the wrist, rotates and bends, which is cool. So if you have something in his hand, you can have a pretty wide range of posing options. You've got articulation at the ab, as you can see there, like that. Rotation 360 at the waist. And because the legs are designed the way they are, you've got really wide range of articulation at the hip. As you can see, that's very unnatural looking, but you do have that option. And you can do the splits pretty well, like Jean-Claude Van Damme. And you have a swivel and a bend at the knee, and same thing with the ankle. So with that out of the way, that's just the basic figure, and pretty much all Sigma 6 figures have that articulation, as well as the Sigma 6 ports on the figure itself. So one of the things you're probably wondering if you're new or haven't heard about these Sigma 6 figures is these figures are on average about 8 inches tall, and this is no exception with Kamakura. But as you can see here, he towers over even a DC Universe Classics figure on the left here, and of course a regular 3 3/4 inch Iron Man 2 figure on the right. So definitely you get a lot of value in terms of overall size with this Kamakura or any Sigma 6 action figure. And that's what makes Sigma 6 so great, is the height of these figures. Alright, accessories. Well, first one, we can start off with this, his visor slash communicator. And that can go over his eyes for a more high-tech ninja look, as you can see there. I kind of prefer to have it off, but it does stay on there pretty well. Next up, you have a pair of hand blades, and here's a look at them. You can see right here. And if you take a closer look at them, they're very, very fantastically painted. You can see maybe there's a little bit of a blue on the edge of the blade. I'm trying to get in the right light here so you can see that. The rest of it's really silver. There we go. There we go. And you can see it got this handle here. Now his fingers are you know, the plastic on the fingers is just flexible enough to allow him to easily accept the handles for his weapons, but not so loose that they'll flop out. As you can see, you know, he can display the weapon quite nicely. It stays in his hand. It'll move around a little bit if you nudge it, but it's got a nice nice grip there. So you can have both of these in his hands if you want to. So if that wasn't cool enough, you also get these two swords. And they've got kind of a serrated edge there. And again, you've got this silver and blue combination, which is really, really cool. You can make that out. And here's a look at the handles. Now, here's a really cool feature. See, there's these pegs here, and they will actually peg into the hip ports, the hip Sigma 6 ports right here and right here. So even though you don't have hilts per se, what's really cool is you can maneuver his hand so that he can actually act like he is about to grab his, let me get his fingers around the hilt here, or the grip. Yeah, you can see there. Awesome. Right there that's really cool. So even though there's no really, well, there is a storage for these weapons, I'll show you that later, but on the actual waist area there's not really a scabbard or a holder of any kind, but you do have the Sigma 6 ports, which is really, really cool. Now on to the final and most cool accessory. You get this item here, and this is what makes the Kamakura figure the Airglide Ninja. And back here you have three of these pegs here, and let's see, we want to peg it in like this, so that, no, actually, sorry, we want to peg it in like this. So you got the three lined up there, peg it in there. It pegs in really nicely, and you know, it's not going to fall off very easily. But the really cool part is you press this button, ta-da! Out pop these wings. This is the gliding part of the figure. So you could, if you wanted to, possibly, you know, tie some fishing wire, not fishing wire, but fishing line, and pose your figure hanging from something, you know, or, you know, midair battle. Now this Airglide backpack has one more surprise. Well, actually, it's technically two, but here we go. If you take a look at this piece, on either side, you have these blades that come out, which is very, very cool. And, you know, coming at you like this would make quite an impressive display with the blades extended like that, or if he had had the blades in his hands as well. So really, really nice. I like that feature, and just having those types of things really makes this figure one of the most awesome Sigma 6 figures I have in my collection. Now, what really put it over the top for me is, if you look right here, you can see two of these little What they are is actually they're holders for the actual swords, and that, my friends, that really rocks all kinds of awesome. You have storage for his blades, his swords, and so he really looks cool. You know, if he's flying through the air at you like this, well, his hands would probably be out like this or something like that. But you know, you get the idea. Flying through the air, his swords popping over the back here. You know, you can even have his hand blades in there flying along like this. So this is one fantastically awesome figure. Perhaps one of my most favorite of the Sigma 6 characters, well, not characters, but Sigma 6 figures I have in my collection. So really nice, and I can't recommend this enough. It's really cool. For one thing, just the overall color scheme of the yellow and black is really cool. And one thing I wanted to point out too before I forget, you can see how he has a plastic headband, but back here on the back of his head where you can see there, this is real fabric, which is really cool. So that's a nice touch as well. And you'll see that in quite a few of these Sigma 6 figures. You'll have real fabrics that are incorporated into the actual figure. So really nice figure. And you know, definitely recommend you pick it up if you can. You're going to have to find it online, most likely on eBay. If you're lucky, you'll find it maybe at your local comic shop, perhaps. But I got mine online. I paid $13 for the figure, and then $7 for shipping, which is not too bad. So for a total of about over $20. And I think these figures, when they were on retail, were like $15. So I got a pretty good deal, I think. You know, $20 is probably the about the average you want to pay for the figure, for these kind of figures. So definitely well worth it, and I do recommend it. Alright guys and gals, thanks for watching. This has been my review of G.I. Joe Sigma 6 Kamakura Airglide Ninja. 2 thumbs up.